I don't even know why we do this shit anymore. Hey, what is going on, everyone? Welcome in to the Oregon Channel, the Oregon Live Show, right here on the Voice of College Football. As we have, look at this. We got so many people on this panel tonight. It's amazing. Especially Derek. That's the main surprise. If we had Cookie Man, I'd be even more surprised.
You and me both, man. I don't think he's the Cookie Man anymore, though. We got to come up with a new clever nickname for him.
That's true.
He's the warehouse boy now.
Okay. We can ride with that for now. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good, just getting pumped and excited for the weekend.
Yeah, finally have some football to look forward to. And I mean, I know the spring game is not necessarily the most exciting for a lot of people, but I guess, at this point it's better than nothing. I'm excited to see some new dudes in the Oregon uniforms, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably say it several times. Look, it's the spring game. Everyone knows you're not going to see a lot, but you get to see a couple guys break out here and there and get excited about, like last year. We came away from that spring game last year. We're like, look at that Betcher dude, all over the field. So, I mean, and you didn't see that coming probably before the spring game.
Yeah, this year it'll probably be more competitive than the Beaver game coming in September.
Shots fired. Shots fired, Beaver Nation.
Well, I mean, only if he's wrong, though.
They don't have that. They had no QB. Other running backs left. I mean, they're in a sad state of affairs. I was on a space earlier, and I said, look at their spring game last week. They had like 1,000 people. And my buddy goes, take away one of those zeros, maybe.
I saw the photo of that, and I was like, that brand new stadium, no one there.
It was bare. It was horrible. That was embarrassing.
Well, that's what you'd expect from a Mountain West team, right? Mountain West spring game, they don't get a lot of, viewership, so they're just playing the part.
But it's Beaver Nation. They usually show up. That's why I was dumbfounded.
Well, even the oh God, his Twitter handle is escaping me. He's one of the Beaver, big Beaver posters, and he was like showing like committed, and it was the Beaver and Michigan State uniforms. He's like, yes, like trying to escape.
Yeah, it's just I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, it has gotten bad, but unfortunately, again, that's one thing we talked about before. It's money. It's all about revenue, and the Pac wasn't doing it, and Oregon had to take the initiative, and like Washington,
George Karlaftis, it's his fault.
It's partially his fault, but it's been a decade plus of just crap leadership and stubbornness all around. I think he got on a sinking ship that no matter what he did, it was never going to be saved. So,
yeah,
I mean, because again, they had a TV deal for like the, what is it, $32 million a team or something like that, and the presidents turned it down.
Well, yeah, because they wanted him to go to Apple TV, and everybody laughed at him.
Well, I know, but I mean, I'm saying the point is they had the deal in place, and the president said no. They have to all agree to it.
Yeah, it's like
he was screwed. He was screwed from the start. I mean, in a way, he was. I think he just kind of came. He saw the writing on the wall himself and was like, "Yeah." I mean, what can you do to fix a decade of crap, basically?
Yeah, well, I mean, how do you even dig yourself out of this hole? Honestly, it's going to take, even if you try to rebuild this conference, how good can you really make it, especially when you're like, you're considering Oregon, who's playing in the Big Ten, or the SEC, obviously, and even at that point, like the Big 12 is like a bigger brand than that. So like even if you rebuild that conference, are you really any better than the G5 conference?
No, it's going to take them a decade to rebuild.
Yeah, it's
if
just
even that, and by then they'll probably just get absolved into a G5 group.
Yeah.
Or just make a new G5 conference, or they'll get absolved into the Big Ten or something like that. I mean, and one way or the other, probably within a decade.
Yeah.
Although when does the Big Ten contract end? I mean, it can be adjusted, of course, but is it in it for like 7-8 years at least?
I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head, honestly.
I can't remember. It's been a long time since that came up, so now I've already forgotten. I mean, the point is, Oregon and Washington they saw the writing on the wall immediately. That's why they got the clearance from the Big Ten initially. And when it came opportunity time, they were like, "Yeah, we out. We're going." I mean, it wasn't like our fault either. Other teams had already been signing up with the Big 12, so it's not like we were the only one. Within 3 weeks, like everyone was gone.
Yeah, you knew the Pac-12 was sinking. It was a sinking ship. So you do one of two things. Either you can get on one of the life rafts and, take your chances in the Big Ten, the Big 12, the ACC, some members, or you hold on to the or you hold on to the boat and you just absolutely pray, and then you get stuck in the Mountain West because you sink with the ship. And then they want to look at like the University of Oregon, like, you sank the ship. We just jumped off it. We were smart enough to get off and go seek our worth elsewhere.
Yeah,
it was USC and UCLA that sank it. They like to say it was the Pac-12 that sank, but it was really USC and UCLA. They punctured a hole in the side of the ship and got on a life raft. Yeah.
They might have made the biggest splash, honestly, but I feel like if the Pac-12, like just in general, the conference had competent leadership and solid negotiating skills, this wouldn't even be an issue. Like 5 years ago, no one would have thought the Pac would have ever absolved, but here we are.
Yeah.
I really think it's just like that incompetent leadership at the top, and that kind of like trickles down. Obviously, the universities, they knew what was coming with the direction of the leadership just because of how many jumped off ship so quickly. And then you got those two who are left standing there, kind of heads up in the clouds. Like, what did you think was happening?
The real start of this was, and we're not going to beat this horse to death. We've talked about it. It's done. The Pac is over. We know this. It's still depressing. I got to replace my flag. I put the good one up without the Pac-12 logo over here. The other one's over there with the Pac-12 logo. The real distress is if you think had 13, 14 years ago, you got in Texas Tech, and Oklahoma, as was the original plan, it wouldn't be the Pac being dissolved. Mm-hmm. It just never worked out, and then they just kind of went, fuck it. From then on, for some reason.
Yeah.
That all worked out.
It's tough when you have the Big Ten and the SEC. They were just so clearly better from top to bottom, financially speaking, than like the Pac or the Big 12. So then the ACC is another good example. But then these guys start scrapping for it, and then the top members are going to get us a solid, lucrative deal from the Big Ten and the SEC because they can afford it. And they jump shit. I don't understand how that's their fault. Like I get why people are pissed off about it, but what were they supposed to do? I
don't know. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's the past. There's multiple mistakes and errors over the years, obviously, that have been could easily be pointed at that have been catastrophic in the lead up to it.
This guy makes no sense to me, but I don't know.
I see it. So yeah, let's get into it right now. Well, actually, let's talk about it because we didn't touch too much about it. We didn't do it last week. We were going to, obviously, Lachlan gone. Ohio State's like, hey, we need all the Oregon guys. They're the best. Steal everyone. So now we have samples. Definitely not a name on any of our boards when we talked about it a few weeks ago with me, Spaz, and the Polar Bear Express. There was not even a name on our list, but apparently he was in Dan's Rolodex somewhere.
That's one of the best gets you can get, though. When you look at that pipeline Oh my goodness, that is deep entrenched in Duncanville, Texas, right there. That is some deep, deep, deep Texas trench digging right there. That's going to set us up for years to come.
Well, and
Yeah,
the one
100%.
and the one thing too we talked about. That's why we mentioned we threw out a bunch of people, obviously, and we are like, I don't know, but he would want maybe a younger person, obviously, to keep on that trend of young coaching staff. And it's not like Samples is like an unknown. I mean, he even has a year of a position coach in the NFL. 2021 with the Rams, right? I believe.
Yeah.
So he also has NFL experience.
Yeah, and he's still relatively young as well. His dad, for those who don't know, is the head coach at Duncanville High School, one of the biggest schools in Texas that's produced tons of talent over the years. Multiple state high school championships. His dad is a Texas legend in high school football.
And just happens to be the head coach of Decorian Moore, who, Oregon just happens to be pursuing very heavily. So, hopefully things work out in that regard too. Have dad put in a good word for son.
Well, and the interesting thing with him too is because he's a running back coach, but he has a lot. He was, or he also taught wide receivers.
Yeah,
he's a wide receiver. So I mean, he has both, and we talked about it. Like, just go a former wide receiver. All you got to do is learn to run routes. Really cuts, and that you can do it. It's not difficult. But the one thing people have brought up, and we were wondering too, is like, if you get a young guy, are you thinking 2 years from now, Stein gone, boom, new OC potentially, have him learn from Stein, put his own little flair here and there, and
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, because it comes to a point where you're going to have guys like Will Stein. They're going to be pursued to go elsewhere, get a head coaching gig somewhere, much like Kenny Dillingham did. So you can only hope you could bring in the guy like Rashad Samples and kind of just keep progressing up the coaching depth chart per se.
Yeah, we don't like we said a few weeks ago. We don't know what Dan's thinking. We don't know what he's looking for exactly. But he found a guy who has still quite a bit of experience already. And I think the one thing we talked about with Lachlan was, while everything he did with the running backs is great, apparently people have said, he's not a recruiter.
Well,
I don't know what Samples' deal is with recruiting or how really good he is, but apparently Dan likes him, and so far everyone Dan's hired has been great. So,
like, he kind of fits the mold of that coaching. You know what I mean? He's got that NFL experience, much like Tosh. He is a great recruiter. He was one of Arizona State's lead recruiters. So that that always helps. Obviously, has that Texas connection, which has been great. He kind of fits that mold, and he like I said, he recruits really well, and he's a young, relatable coach, and that's something that's been pretty a solid theme in the Oregon coaching staff between Dan being one of the youngest in college football, Will Stein being one of the youngest OCs in football, Rashad Samples isn't that far behind him.
He's not. I mean, that's why we were on track with that. He wanted a younger guy because some people named, some older coaches, and I was like, yeah, I don't see Dan doing that unless he had it was like his fourth option, maybe. Like, he just couldn't get the other guy. And the one thing about Samples I will say too is because when a coach leaves, even a position coach, a lot of times you'll lose a player or two. No one's left that running back room. I think the running back room knows the hierarchy. They all know they're going to have an impact.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a good thing,
Yeah.
All right, Spaz. I know. You're itching it. Your cat is annoyed back there too. The cat's like, hey, spring game. Let's talk about it. We get football on Saturday.
Finally, after 4 months of stagnant, whole lot of nothing, dead period stuff. ready to have something to look forward to back.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see some of the progression of the second year guys like Jurian Dickey and the Casper and some of the other guys. Seeing how our portal guys have fit in, and really excited to see what Kobe and Maxwell and all those guys that we got in the portal this year to help that defense get that much better.
Yeah, because the defense obviously took a hit, not necessarily because of transfers. Obviously, I mean there was some, but of course it's those are deeper in the chart. But of course we lost a lot of graduations who are going to move on to do bigger, better things. So definitely looking to see how we have filled those spots with like Jamar Muhammad, and are they going to come in and really be?
Did anybody see the fade that Dante threw to
Kyler Casper
today?
Mm-hmm. I was going to bring that up since that comment
like
was
sidearm, just kind of flung it, and yeah, just ran right under it.
Yeah, I couldn't say anything to the comment for Matthew because I didn't see I didn't see that interview either. Casper has not played yet, really at all, and with bringing in so many other wide receivers too, maybe he's just on the.
If you listen to what Will Stein said just yesterday, he praised Kyler Casper as one of the breakout receivers this year in spring practice to this point. So if there was anybody that may end up hitting, you might have to you might look at Casper, but everything I'm seeing, I don't think I just found out this afternoon, we are only 2 or 3 over.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. I was like, how far over are we still on scholarship?
We're only like 2 scholarships over, and those could easily be turned into walk-on status.
Because like a month ago we were like 5 or 6 or something like
that.
Yeah,
5 or 6.
So it's trimmed down already.
Yeah. And I think you're going to know from everything I'm hearing from people close is that you're going to know by Thursday if anybody's going to go in. By Thursday, you're going to know if there's going to be cut downs.
I think, well, especially after the spring game, I definitely after the spring game, we're going to see you're going to see who's on the field and who's not. Who's on the third string and and maybe fourth string even, and then you're going to see a couple of those guys. Or maybe who's relinquished to special teams only, kind of thing. And
yeah, we'll see somebody obviously hit the portal. It's just a matter of where that comes from. I could see it being from like the defensive line. There's so much young talent there, so bottom heavy in terms of like how old the roster is. I could see someone jumping if they find out they're not going to get the playing time they're looking for while the competition's wide open. That defensive back room is absolutely loaded. I could see one of the younger guys jumping out of there. Not necessarily just because they're not good enough. It's just, it's a very competitive room. Probably not seeing much playing time this year outside of, the top, guys I'm sure we'll be talking about here shortly. I don't know how I'm kind of interested to see where it comes from too.
Yeah, the DB
also,
room is
a couple more people that Oregon is probably going to be taking a look at One of them being the kid from Michigan State who went in this morning, who went to Michigan State over Oregon last spring. So he was very highly recruited by our coaching staff. It's going to cost a little more money this time, but you got teams like Texas, though, who are severely in need of defensive nose tackle. So you got to look and see what happens there, because he also was heavily recruited by Texas. But he is definitely in the mix for Oregon. So we'll see.
Yeah, we have. I was looking over the roster. I was looking over the roster about the DBs, and I was like, yeah, I don't think we need that many DBs.
Nose tackle
is not on this roster.
No, nose tackle is probably our weakest spot right now. And if we get what's his name, Mannion, I think. Remember his name, Derek?
Who are we talking about? Derek Harmon.
Harmon, yes, yeah. If we get him, it's locked up. There's no more depth. I mean, it's done. We're solid.
That's the piece I think they're missing too. I think they can get away with it, and they're a competitive team. I'm not saying nobody would step up. You know what I'm saying? I think there's people who are capable, but if we were talking right now, like you look at the roster and you're like, that piece is solid. We have no worries, no competition taking place. That's the spot where I'd look at and be like, we need something right there.
Put him on one end and Cam Alexander on the other. Look out.
Yeah, this is a very deep team. This might be the deepest we've seen it ever. I mean, in reality, because I'm talking, you can go 2, sometimes 3 positions deep, and you're like, that's a dude I want to see in the field. Like, think about our tight ends. When's the last time you had 3 tight ends? Like back in the Evan Bayless days, the early Evan Bayless days, where you had 3 tight ends who you could put on the field, and you're like, I feel comfortable here. And, Patrick Herbert, he's no like major receiving threat, but Kenyon Sadiq, the dude is an absolute freak of an athlete. We all know what T-Ferg can do, and everybody loves seeing Patty Herbert on the field. So it's just a deep team all around.
And Herbert stepped up. I think it was more maybe opportunity this last year with having less depth with the loss of like Monteval and stuff like that from the year before. But you saw him do a really good job at receiving. Especially on some of the screen game, where you had the 600 to like 900 pounds of beef running down the field, taking out DBs for him.
Yeah, you're not kidding. You love to see it though.
Mark, come on, quarterback 2 for the spring game is going to be Dante Moore.
That is something where I get it. People like Austin Nova said that's wonderful. I'm not saying don't support the kid, but like there are people out there right now who are like, I think he might push for a QB1, and I'm like, I don't think you guys understand that people like Dylan Gabriel and Dante Moore do not commit to a program unless they know exactly what they're going to be getting once they get there.
Especially Gabriel. He did not leave a school where he's a starter for 1 year to be number 2.
Right. And that my point being that starting position, he knows exactly what he's going to get. And then you got Dante who
left Oklahoma because they had already pretty basically guaranteed the starting
Jackson Arnold. Yeah.
Which is also fair. But the point is he's not going to go to a school for a final year to not be the starter.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So he came to Oregon knowing for 100% certainty when week 1 kicks off, he will be behind center. We know that. That's fine.
It was like Bo Nix. Bo Nix wasn't going to go to Oregon to
right. And that's the same thing with Dante Moore. When Dante Moore came out in the early portal cycle, he was the number 2 overall available QB in the entire thing, top 10 once again overall. So he committed in what? It had to be less than 6 days. Like he committed extremely quickly to Oregon. You know, you watched his little interview and he's like, when I hit the portal, I knew where I was going. He knew, because he knew exactly what he's getting. He's going to be able to, you know, be groomed behind Dylan Gabriel, soak up this offense, get to develop like he should. He's, you know, he is a freak athlete, whether people like to admit it. And, you know, I know some people are still salty with him or not, but in reality, I'm sorry, Austin Novosad could play one heck of a game. And I really, truly believe deep in my heart, he's locked into that QB3 role and nothing higher. I mean, it's no tarnishment to him whatsoever, but I think Oregon wants to hold Dante more than they want to hold Austin Novosad. For that reason, they decided to bring him in the first place. If they were truly that comfortable with him, that wouldn't have even been a conversation.
And will that happen? Yeah, we don't know. And something can change from now. I mean, God forbid, like say a major injury somehow or something along the way. I mean, you never know what can happen. But yeah, with the next thing coming up, like next year, if Novosad does stick around and Dante's name starter, will Novosad leave? Maybe. And then what? I guess it would be Moga. Would be QB2. Well, but then we'll have Akili Smith. But he'll probably redshirt. He'd probably redshirt a year, probably.
Well, and Oregon's pushing hard for 2 QBs this cycle too.
Exactly.
So
I
think there'll be another one that ends up following Akili. I think his commitment's pretty rock solid. But like you said, at that point you want to hold on to Dante Moore for dear life. I mean, let's be real here. You don't really want to give up an athlete of that caliber once you bring him into the program. And unfortunately for Austin Novosad, that means another year back. Does he really want that? I mean, maybe he's a Ty Thompson type of guy where he's like, you know what, I'm going to stay and compete the whole way. If it happens, it happens. If not, you know, it is what it is. But I just don't see that happening because, you know, he is pretty highly gassed up by like Will Stein in particular.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to say. Like, yeah, there's so many different things that can happen along the way. Holding on to Dante would be good because one, he already has playing experience. Now he's going to take a year behind Gabriel to learn and in the offense. So
this year's team it is, like Derek was saying earlier, is probably the deepest team from 1 to 90 that Oregon's had. Offense, defense, special teams, probably in my lifetime.
I was gonna say probably ever. Like, let's be honest here.
I've never seen a team this deep at QB, running back, tight end. I just heard some phenomenal shit about Jay Harris today. The transfer, Max Torres. Credit him. He was scooped out. He's gotten some great takes just being in Eugene the last couple of days. And I tell you, this team is just loaded. Tight end, receiver, cornerback, defensive back, safety, linebackers, you name it. This team is solid. Offensive line with Poncho coming back. I mean, that's just Connerly. We're just so deep.
If it's not that way, one of the deepest in the sense of like position side, it's definitely the most talented, I would think. That's for sure. It's definitely the most talented at all different positions. It's kind of hard to think about it because you think of all the great Oregon teams before and then go, man, a lot of those people were like 3 stars. Now you've got all these 4 and 5 stars that are
and in
all
years
over the board.
past, if a certain position guy here or a certain position guy there went down, you were like going, ooh, you know,
right,
holding your breath, you know, for the next guy, hoping that he could just step up to the plate and be that next man up. Well, Oregon's got 3 of those at every position.
And now, that's it. And that right there. Yeah, that's what like makes me think. Like, I'm not saying Oregon's going to win a national championship this year. That's not what I'm saying. But they should compete for a college football playoff spot if we're meeting expectations at a minimum. And how that happens is you stay healthy throughout the year. And that doesn't mean nobody gets hurt. Like Spaz says, you know, you can't have those positions go down where you're thinking, oh shit, who do we have behind him? We don't have that worry at any position on this field right now. Like I
Yeah.
cannot think of one position, including kicker, which is wild, that you can look at and say, if they go down, we are absolutely fucked. I don't think we have one of those positions right now. At least, unless you guys can think of one off the top of your head.
I'm looking at the kick. I'm like, damn, we have that many. I didn't even know we had that many kickers on the roster.
All right.
Yeah,
I didn't even know we had that many kickers.
That's what I'm saying. And they're solid kickers. Obviously we know what we're getting with Atticus Sappington coming in from Oregon State. He had a phenomenal year last year. But behind that, I mean, Oregon's kickers historically, it's like flipping a goddamn coin half the time. So, I'll take anybody who can hit 70% of their kicks.
I mean, you think of 2014, for instance, like, yeah, we were talking about the DBs earlier. It's like we have a ton of them. Obviously, some don't have a lot of experience or haven't shown anything, so you can't be like, well, plug and play, no problem. But look at 2014. We lost Efo, and we were like, oh, shit.
Yeah, then you slide in like an Eric Nargan, and you're like, he's fine, but he's not EFO. Like that hurt. But now hypothetically, you have, let's say season starts, you have Cam Alexander go down. If he's playing that CB2 role, and then behind him you have a Dante Manning who played last year anyway. You have a Jaleel Florence, assuming he's sticking around like he supposedly said he is. You have options behind him. Sione, the JUCO transfer. They're just deep.
You've got solid options. I mean, that's
what I'm
guys
saying.
who have a lot of playing experience. You're not plugging and playing a true freshman going, we're burning your red shirt because we're screwed.
Yeah.
And just you wait until they're every single year we've ever seen Oregon football, there's been someone who comes out of the woodworks in the spring game, what have you, and then all of a sudden we hit fall time and you're like, dang, I didn't know this guy was going to contribute like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bryce Betcher early on last year. Someone's gonna it's gonna happen this year. I think
I'm waiting for that breakout player because again, like last year, Betcher was just all over the field. We were like, who the hell is that?
That's what I think we're gonna see at a Blake Purchase this year. He got a few snaps last year, kind of garbage time stuff at the end, but I think Blake Purchase is gonna be that dude who ends up stepping up, and if he can like truly solidify that linebacking core. Oregon's in scary hours, man. It's a scary team.
Look at Mark creeping his competition in the Big Ten now. Look at him. Ohio State creeping the Oregon show now.
Oh, spaz.
Don't troll Mark. I'm going to start getting angry text messages. He's probably already gone. He probably is already gone. He's probably like, oh, okay, they are live. Cool.
He just came in. But another thing I was really thinking about, I'm really excited for Saturday, is just seeing the wide receiving core in general matched up against this DB core in general. The Evan Stewarts versus the Jabbar Muhammads. I want to see what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? Tez Johnson and Cam Alexander. Let's see it. Jurion Dickey, he supposily put on some weight, continues to develop. Show me what you got. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so excited.
I've heard.
Today? Did you see the picture of Jurion today?
Yeah, the dude's stacked. He's absolutely stacked.
Humongous.
That's what they said he's grown like that. And, obviously, Spaz, you kind of alluded to the Will Stein interview earlier today. And they talked about how they would expand wide receiver roles, not the 4. He's like, we're talented enough. We could go 6 deep this year and constantly rotate these dudes. So,
well, he's one of Oregon's definitely tallest receivers. Oregon is not been known for tall receivers very often.
Wait, isn't Jurion like 6'6"?
I think he's 6'3", isn't he?
6'3".
6'2", 6'3".
That's a big dude. Well, kind of what he reminds me of is like a young DK Metcalf. You remember him at, like, not necessarily right now, but you remember him at Ole Miss, like when the year he's stacked up and put on that weight. You're like, holy shit! Now that's a fucking man. That's kind of what Jurion's starting to look like.
His arms are Hulk Hogan size.
He's basically a wide receiver / could be tight end if we needed to play. Like
seriously, like a hybrid role. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Evan Stewart's got. Obviously, we want to see Jabbar Muhammad. the whole secondary damn near is new, so I'm excited to see that.
Which I will say, like last year was a nerve-wracking thing during the spring game because we were like, some of the deep shots they were taking, they were off time, like they were overthrows, underthrows. We're like, what's going on? The defense looked great, and then we found out the defense is actually pretty good.
Right.
This year so far in the practices, the defense has already been picking off QBs, and I'm like, I don't know if that's bad or good. It's hard to gauge. But
yeah, and I know we talked about
that
a few weeks ago too. We just got, it's like in the spring, the spring game is so hard to like really cheer for anything. You know what I'm saying? So like, Ben, that's a perfect example. Say Dylan Gabriel drops back and throws an 80-yard dot to Evan Stewart. Well, does that mean we have one of the greatest, QB wide receiver combos in the country, or does that mean our DBs are about to get toasted, versus anybody who has a little speed, So it's kind of like, it's great that we're seeing these big plays, but at the same time, you're like the flip side of it is in reality, someone didn't do their job. And then you have to start looking at that and being like, well, how good is it? How bad was it? That type of deal.
I don't know, but if any of you all haven't, go watch the Texas spring game, because I'm telling you, Arch Manning is coming for yours job.
He threw like 400 yards almost or something like that.
Freaking amazing Saturday. I was blown away.
I saw the notes on that. I was like,
because yours didn't look that good to me. But Arch Manning,
to me, that's the defense. That says Texas like defensively has a problem. If your backup is throwing for 400 yards basically in a spring game, you have a problem, I think.
But yeah, he was throwing dimes though. They weren't like throw him up Hail Mary. He was throwing dimes, hitting guys on a run 60 yards downfield. Boom. Wow.
He's a Manning. Yeah, what do you expect?
Yeah, that's fair. But that's another perfect example. You know what I'm saying? So hypothetically, let's say, what if Arch Manning is just like the second coming of Jesus, like that fortified number 1 overall draft pick right now, and this is his coming out party? It just happened to be in the spring game. We'll never know it. You know what I mean? We don't know what to do with that information. And also like Ben said, maybe Texas's defense is absolutely horrendous. Arch Manning just happened to have a good day, and that's that. It's just, I don't know, man. Spring games are really tough. Like,
last year, if you go back and watch the spring game from last year, did our offense look very good in the spring game? No, it did not, even with Bo Nix. And yet they still had one of the top offenses and a pretty solid freaking defense throughout the year consistently. So, the spring game is so hard to gauge.
Defense surprised you more. The spring game than your offense did.
Oh yeah.
Our offense is manageable, but your defense, you were like, much different than the year before.
Much tighter coverage, and that's what we want to see. Last year, I will say the biggest addition last year, and the one thing that helped the most, especially with secondary, and it's not like we didn't give passing yards. When you have to go against 3 NFL receivers in Washington, you're going to give up yards. I do think it's one of the biggest additions was Chris Hampton, though, to help Lupoy out with, zone defense. Absolutely. They still like to play a lot of man, but with Chris Hampton coming in to help with play calling and zone defense, I think did a tremendous.
We had a much better zone last year, and I think our zone is another that was looking much better so far this spring from what I've seen. Much tighter zone coverage.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to take away from the spring game other than just like, hell yeah, football, and look at those uniforms.
Yeah. Right. See what they got for it. See if this is like the unofficial start of like the Generation O uniforms. You know what I mean? Like they got some spring ones for us, or if they're really trying to keep us in suspense and give us something from, last year, a couple years ago.
And be prepared during the day, Ben. Throughout the day, I will do some video clips like the walkout, things like that.
You send those to me. Send those to me. Yeah, like Google, like the Google Drive, the drop or whatever Google drops, and I can upload Like as soon as I get them, I'll just download them and I can upload them
Yeah.
and stuff as we go. Definitely, I can take care of that. That's not a problem. The are we going to see? So you said Spaz, you said it's on the Pac-12 network still.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I know
Yep.
because the Pac-12 is still going technically.
Until June. Yep.
Yeah, until are we going to see them still with Pac-12 logos, or are they going to have Big Ten, or are they just going to have no conference logo on the uniforms?
I have no clue.
That's a good question.
I would think they would have nothing.
I know
Maybe
the basketball court is stripped.
Yeah, I was thinking they'd have nothing. I saw that they were redoing the basketball court.
You know, I could, now that I think about it, though, I could see him still wearing the Pac-12 logo just because, like, officially, legally, however you want to put it, like they are members until what the 1st of June. I think it is.
Yeah, I guess in a sense of the legal senses, because of, especially on the Pac-12 network, you almost have to. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting if you see a bare football field with just the O, no league association or something. It'd be like, wow, that's really weird.
I had never given that a thought. I don't know.
It literally just popped. It just popped in my head thinking of uniforms. I'm like, are we going to see the Pac-12 logo, or is it going to be gone? That'd be interesting.
Wouldn't it be ironic to watching on the Pac-12 network, seeing the Big Ten logo on the field?
Oh my god, that would be such a dick move and amazing at the same time. The Pac-12,
someone would be getting fired.
Pac-12 pans across the field and then like quickly dips out like, oh, Big Ten.
On the Pac-12 network, brought to you by the Big Ten.
Yeah, because people had speculated months ago, like, well, Oregon might be on the Big Ten network for this, but I was like, well, the Pac-12 is still in existence. The network is still there, which is something interesting. I told these guys beforehand. Well, I think Derek called it briefly. I'm not going to say who it is, but we have someone who works at the Pac-12 network who's going to come on probably in May to talk with us, and I'd like to see where they're going to go. What's going to happen to the network? Are they going to merge with the Big Ten somehow to become like the Big Ten West, TV crew or something like that, maybe? So hopefully in early May we can have them on to get that type of answers. Because it's kind of interesting because it's like, obviously, I don't think the Pac-12 network is like a huge crew of people. I mean, it's just
I don't think
a good amount, but it's not like thousands of people or something like that. So it's like, what's going to happen with them?
Yeah, I don't know, because I know last year, like at the end or the last football game on the Pac-12 network, they did like a little like ceremonial goodbye thing after the game had concluded. And it kind of like they kind of made it seem like none of those people were going to be. I mean, obviously, like not back on the network, but you know what I mean. Like I don't think they're going to be together. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if some of them are going to. Like the Big Ten network will come out and say, we're going to need a couple like Oregon experts or just West Coast recruiting experts or, whoever they can pull from the Pac-12 network and kind of bring them on over. Or if they're just kind of like, go find something else. You know what I mean?
Or again, maybe they just absolve it, kind of take over it because like, well, you already have all the equipment over there. The network itself does good broadcasting. The network itself is not a problem. It could use a little upgrade and tweaking, but I mean, there's all of the equipment over there. So Big Ten could just be like, you know what? You guys just broadcast that for the Big Ten West, or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of questions, though. Like a lot of stuff that I haven't really thought about before, just like moving conferences like that.
I'm making you think, Derek.
You really are. Like the jersey patches, the whole field logos. I'm like, dang, this dude is thinking. He's in his bag tonight.
Just randomly. This is a Mark is onto something here. He might have said who I might be asking. He might have said the name of who I'll be asking in May.
We can park Yogi's camera right here. We got a spot for him.
Yogi would be so desperate at that point if he's like, hell yeah, I'm on board with your team. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yogi would be so desperate at that
point. I won't hold my breath.
But yes, congratulations, Mark. You hit it. In early May, we should have Yogi Roth right here on the channel, and we are going to ask him all about the Pac-12 network. As obviously he's a great analyst, quite a character, and very versed in the sport. So, should be a great addition to have on to talk everything Oregon. So hopefully that will work out in May. since he messaged me.
There we go.
Did
You just gotta.
Did any of you guys see the interview with Dan today?
I did
Oh, the one
not.
with what's his name? Will Compton.
On the bus? Boys on the bus?
Yeah. Busting with the
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did watch that right after work.
I'm gonna
It's
have
cool
to go
see
back.
Dan
I've got to
let loose
catch
a
up on.
little bit.
I've got to catch up on some interviews. I have been kind of slacking off the last couple of days of watching some of the interviews because I need to. It's hard because you're like it's off season, but then all of a sudden it's like boom, it's spring game. So now it's like
Yeah.
you got to ramp back up and.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Like if you want to look at an interview, because he did what? It was Tez, Dylan Gabriel, and then this morning it was Dan Lanning's was released. But they were like 45 minutes to an hour long interviews, and they're a little more like there we go. Thanks, Jackson. They were a little more like informal than like a standard interview. Like it's like the bro is.
You had to go through half of it to get to it.
Yeah, you skip that. I mean, the first half of it's like because they just do a weekly podcast too, or a daily. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like the first half of them just talking, and then the whole back half of it's the interview. But yeah, they're actually some pretty good stuff. I thought Tez's was really good. Dylan Gabriel, he's got a little fire to his personality that you don't really get to hear in the interviews and stuff like that. But hearing Tez's stories about him and just kind of how like he speaks about himself, like he's got a little fire and edge to him too. So it was kind of cool to be able to see that in the interviews.
Yeah, because I've seen a couple of Dylan interviews after practices and stuff, and he's just very. I'm not because he's not like uptight or like strict about it. He's just very casual. But at the same time, he's still keeping a quote unquote professional demeanor about the interview process, even if you're just standing outside the complex and he's in his sweats and stuff like that.
Yeah, back.
Yeah. I think that the way Tez had described, they kind of asked him, they're like, what's the difference between Dylan Gabriel's like leadership style and Bo Nix? And basically he's like, he stays just as calm as Bo. Bo's a real like even keeled, calm type of dude. But he's like, the only difference is Dylan Gabriel will get up and talk shit in your face. I was like, I kind of like having that quarterback that has a little like edge to him. Like no disrespect to Bo and not saying that I didn't like him, and Marcus obviously wasn't that way either. So like, not a negative, but
nor was Herbert. I doubt.
No, 100% perfect examples. But it's just like you kind of like getting up and seeing the QB getting another dude's face and show a little spark. Like I like that. Like if it's the other team whose quarterback's doing it, and like fuck that guy. But if he's on our team, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I the one thing I was always kind of annoyed with. It didn't happen last year as much. It was mostly the first year with Bo. Was when something would happen wrong, like say a false start, for instance, or he would spike the ball. You could tell he was pissed, but yeah, he wouldn't, and you could see him yelling at people once in a while. But I guess it's also what you're saying when you're doing it. Like, are you just yelling at the guy like, "Hey, do your job," or "Hey," and telling him you're doing this wrong? I guess it depends on also. It's different personalities, it's different messages, it's the way you convey that message.
Oh yeah, and like obviously he has different relationships with these guys than anybody else. You know what I mean? He spends 80% of his life together, collegiate time together with these guys. So yeah, like you said, that makes sense. It's just a whole different leadership style. So I'm excited to see that personality difference.
But yeah, as to like Marcus and Herbert, I never saw Marty able to get in anyone's face. I never saw Herbert either that I can recall off the top of my head. I don't recall him ever getting anyone's face.
No, and like they show emotion, you know what I mean? Like we've seen both Marcus and Justin, Herbie pop up plenty of times and scream a little bit and give a little something to the camera, but it's like it's never like to somebody, they're not going up to someone and just getting in somebody's mask and grilling them or giving them those little extra shoves at the end, nothing like that.
Yeah, I don't. What was the last quarterback we could think of that actually did that at Oregon?
Darren Thomas.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
DT actually, and Vernon Adams had a little edge to him too. It's like it's not the where he's like seeking confrontation, but the dude would not back down either. So I mean, it was like that. But I think DT was the last one who was like really talking shit. And then before that, ironically enough, was very shortly was Jeremiah Masoli, and he also liked to talk shit.
I was gonna say Mazzoli would have been the one I would have thought of immediately. To been like he was probably the last one because he definitely had the cockiest attitude. But then yeah, definitely would be DT.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely in the sense of cocky attitudes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice to have a little edge.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, Anton. I'm sorry. It's Mariota. Yes. It's funny. They did. I still remember that from his first game when he started against what was Arkansas State, right?
Yep.
And the announcer's like, "It's Mariota," and then after that, they just went Mariota.
Yeah,
they were like they gave up. They gave up on it. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, it's great. You hear it in like the national media, the local media, doesn't matter. That's what you hear is Mariota, and regardless of not whether that's right, I don't think he's going to be.
They gave up on it. Except for one of the announcers. I can't remember his name. And I don't think he did it on purpose. I think it was just the way he said things. He'd be like Mariota. That was just the way he said it. It wasn't that he was actually trying to pronounce it correctly. That was just how he said it. He did the Pac-12 championship game in 2014. That's why I remember, because he said it several times that way, and I was like,
that is a solid pull. Yeah, I don't know.
No, welcome back, Spaz.
We've been waiting for you.
Jesus. So, here's a quick question. I have to go use the little boys' room. Very professional on this podcast. Who is your wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 in the spring game? Who is going to be your 1, 2, and 3? I think we know who number 1 will probably be, but we have some key additions that is someone going to overtake that spot? I mean, isn't Evan Stewart going to have that breakout game? Are you going to see Holden all of a sudden take charge of, the position? Are
Tez, Evan, Holden, and Jurian?
Tez, obviously, yeah. We definitely know Tez is going to be one of the primary focuses, but is he going to be just the slot? Is he going to be a primary receiver? I think that's kind of what's his role?
I'm hearing Evan might be a lot more of a slotter.
Who's that?
Evan Stewart.
You think he'll play in the slot?
I think he may.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see them moving him out just because, I mean, he's a little more of a physical deep ball threat type of wide receiver. I could see them sliding Tez inside a little bit, kind of helping clear some space.
Could be an inside one too, the slot receiver.
And it's just a matter of who's in there. And Trayshawn Holden, that's a big dude too. He put on a little weight too. He's looking, he's looking stacked. And then, you got some of these young speedsters where I think like Jeremiah McClellan, I think he'll get some snaps as a true freshman this year. Not necessarily a lot by any stretch, but I think some of these young guys are going to get a chance to put their product on the field too. So Oregon's got a night, like they have a good problem to have. Just being so deep. Gary Bryant's in there. I mean, he's a little more of an outside guy too.
Right. Jeez.
Yeah, it's Kyler. Yeah. If Kyler Casper ends up playing, if he truly is taking that next step, like my thought was, you know what I mean? He was getting gassed up in that interview this morning, but also in my head, like partially, I'm like, is Will Stein just trying to give him like a platform to hit the portal to and like give him a good, like not a resume, but a good like word more or less.
Well, one of the things I was told today was that basically that one of the good things that Oregon does is they do give good platforms and good tape and stuff for their guys that they expect to hit the portal. They've been known to give good tape and good stuff for their guys and help them, kind of like they did with Sir Mel's. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, I'm not 100% sold that interview was for the purpose of truly just like gassing him up and letting the media know that he's here. Like, part of me in the back of my head, is still thinking until that portal closes, I'm like, he's a candidate. He's an athletic wide receiver, got the ideal frame, buried in a stacked room, probably not seeing much time this year. Let's be real. If Oregon pulls off the wide receiver class like they want to again next year and the players under him continue to develop, Jurion takes the next step. You know what I'm saying? He might not have a platform for his entire Oregon career. So maybe to a point, it makes sense for him to go to like, a Big 12 school. I think he's a Texas kid, maybe an Oklahoma kid. He's from that area somewhere, but I could see him going somewhere like that, go play at Texas Tech or get an SEC shot at A&M, because I'm pretty sure A&M recruited him heavy. I think out of high school, I think Oklahoma recruited him pretty heavy.
Stay out of Colorado.
Yeah, man, it's our Lord and Savior, Deion Sanders, is bringing that program back, Spaz. I've heard it 1,000 times.
Bringing it back to the bottom again.
Man, I'm with you. I am with you. It's wild to me.
This last year, there's no doubt.
But first off,
what reason does he have to stay there once his kids are gone?
Well, it's in that right 100%. Once they're gone, he's got nothing. Shiloh and Shador are both gone. Travis Hunter's gone. That's his other baby. You know what I mean? And he's not doing dick in recruiting. If you do not have a recruiting foundation, if you are recruiting at the level of North Texas and you are trying to compete for a college football playoff spot, you have a whole nother thing coming, my guy. Like, that is not sustainable. Sure, you can get some solid pieces out the portal, but even then, are they going to gel? Do you have the right schemes? Are your players bought into what message you're preaching? And can you hold on to them if they have a solid year, like to continue to build your program? But that's not happening. Man's treating every year is like a new Madden draft.
Yeah,
I mean, you're picking your keeper players, and then you go draft a new team. Is what it feels like Colorado's trying to do.
Yeah, it's terrible. He's building himself to the next level. He's proving that he can coach so that he can take that next leap.
100%. And I mean, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me the way he tries to do it. But what's that?
He's Jerry's boy. If Dallas has a bad year, McCarthy's gone, and I'm telling you, Deion will be the next coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
I could see it. I could see it being condition area where like the Cowboys need to trade up Dak. They're ready for Dak to get out, draft Shador, have the legacy primetime running ship there. Somehow they'll find a way to get Travis Hunter too. That would be like the storybook ending.
I could see that. The college game is not built for somebody like Deion Sanders.
Well, and the craziest part to me too is like it's the fans. You know what I'm saying? So Spaz, I know you're on Twitter a lot. You see exactly how their fans interact. And like
this man needs to be banned from Twitter.
Those
he needs a time.
Faces are horrible.
Yeah, but it's unreal. Like these Colorado fans are convinced that they are like playoff contenders next year. And do they have and I'm like, do they have a favorable schedule? Yes. I'm not saying that. They like if they truly played to their maximum, they have a potential to probably win 10 games. Now, that's not me saying that they're winning 10 games. I truly think they'll win about 6. But their fans are just like, to them when they speak, it's like if they don't make it to the national championship semifinal, at least it's a failure year. And I'm like, that is not true whatsoever, because that team was ass last year.
Remember, I did not have to get a Buffalo tattoo. That was an open bet that I would get a Buffalo tattoo last year. I did not.
Yeah, well, that was one of the safest bets you've ever made in your life, because they are a sorry program.
Mark. People, you can walk on to an NFL team if the NFL has open tryouts. You can walk on.
They can decline their contract.
Yeah,
those Colorado fans are so bad. They are convinced that Deion is the second coming of Jesus, and that he's going to lead them to the Holy Land. But yet 90% of those are also, if you listen to them, they will admit flat out admit that they are Deion Sanders people. That if Deion's gone, they're gone.
Yeah, no, I did too. I tuned into Ryan Winters earlier briefly. He had Max on, and even Max was like, "Look, I hate Colorado people. They are obnoxious, annoying, flat out." Which I don't blame them because they are. They were most obnoxious fan base this last year by far. But he was like, "Look, when Deion's kids leave, Deion's gone. Deion has built this team right now to the point of just right now, and then I'm out."
Yeah,
that's what it seems like. I mean,
it's his way or the highway.
Well, and it's crazy because in year 2, building off of what were they last year? 4 and 8. I'm pretty sure it was 4 and 8. So what it makes it feel like this year is that this year it's like boom or bust. Either you go national championship or it's a bust. And it's like that's crazy to me because this team was 4 and 8 last year, and they like I don't look at the paper and be like, wow, they got significantly better this year. Like
they got better against bad teams.
Well, I mean, I'm even talking about like this offseason heading into next year's team, or you know what I mean, or technically now this season's team. Like, I don't see anywhere on paper where I'm looking at it and I'm like, you guys are significantly better. Like, they have a solid receiving core. That's facts. Their running back room took a little bit of a dip, obviously tonight, with Dylan Edwards hitting the portal, but getting the kid from Ohio State.
Also, Wilkerson left.
I did see that. Yeah. So I mean, their depth is hurting. Because when you're trying to bring in all these portal guys want to play. It's rare to have a Dante Moore who's thinking, I will transfer to go from a starting gig and then go sit. Like that's a very, very rare mindset, and I think it's pretty unique to the quarterback position.
Well, with Dante too, he realized he's like, well, yeah, I wasn't ready to start, and now he saw what Oregon does, and he's like, you know what? All right, I grew up a little bit. I grew up a little bit. I will be willing to learn. That's fine. And you can understand that. I mean, people change, people grow, but yeah, people in the transfer portal generally are going to go because they're going to play. They're not going to be the third string,
right?
Unless they're literally just looking for a solid spot for a scholarship, but then they could have probably stayed where they were.
100%. That's a fair point.
So, I don't know if we touched upon it. I do want to touch upon it quick because, I mean, for fuck's sake, we talked about quarterback, we talked about wide receiver, we talked about we've talked about kickers even. Our running back room. We know who it is. It's 1A, 1B, Jordan James, Noah Whittington.
Mm-hmm.
Who's our number 2? Who's going to be the number 2? I'm wanting to see what Jay Harris brings.
I think that's it right there. Jaden Lamar. We know what he kind of brings to the table. We were able to see him last year. I can only assume he put on a little bit more weight for this season. But just in terms of what Jay Harris brings, like he's a true change up in terms of like the physicality of a back. He's definitely the biggest of the guys. Has a slightly different run style than both Jordan and Noah. So that kind of gives him an edge there. I think they're going to use him a lot in the red zone and short yardage situations, honestly, just because he is like a big beefy back.
And he's listed as a junior, so I guess he has 2 years, this year and next year. So he'll have 2 years technically, because he is listed as a junior. Jay Harris is exactly where is his
he's like what 6'2", 2 something.
I know. Why does this player profile not have his stats on there? That's weird. I would think that would be like the first. Oh, there it is. I would think no stats. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I would think that would be the first thing they'd have about him because he's I think he was like 6'2" or something like that. And he was, if he puts on some weight, I mean, you could be looking at like Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Okay. So he's 6'2", 220.
Oh yeah,
so to put that to put that into consideration, like strictly based off height and weight, he's roughly the same size as Saquon Barkley and Najee Harris
there you go.
in the NFL. So, I mean, that just kind of gives you a rough idea of what his body type looks like.
Dude, this guy came from Northwest Missouri State. Northwest Missouri State. How did no one get him before? I don't know. I don't know what his background is in football. Maybe he only played for like a year and then just never got noticed. But I mean, like,
could have been Scholastic too.
Well, the thing I had heard
Possibly.
was that Dan actually has ties to that university. So Dan's a Missouri kid. Obviously grew up and played college in Missouri, but he has a connection to the head coach of that program. And I think what it was is more of a phone call to Dan saying, hey, this is what we got. We think we might have something special, like, take a look at him. And obviously Dan kind of bought into what he was seeing. I'm sure he kind of trusts the word of this dude if he's, still tight with him. But I think that's how it was. I think it was like a connection from a coach on that staff to Dan that had like a prior relationship that kind of tipped off Jay.
He was a Dan get. He was not a cookie cutter get. So
right, 100%.
Again, he was. I mean, he is coming from Division II, but he was a first team All American in Division II. That says you're getting a really, really solid player.
Yeah, like I forget what the name of the award is, but it's the D2's version of the Heisman. He was a finalist as a running back, so you know what it takes at the D1 level and the FBS level to be a Heisman finalist as a running back. So that gives you an idea what he was doing at that level.
D2.
And Noah was a full go at practice today too, so that's a good encouraging sign that he's starting to come together from his injury from that rehab.
I did see he lost his no contact shirt. He's back in full contact.
Yep, he was a full participant today in practice, so that's a big jump for him.
I mean, and even again, sorry. I was just scrolling through our running backs. I'm like, we have Ellis Bynum. He's a sophomore.
Juwan Riggs is on there still. He's a true freshman.
Bryson Cobbins. He's a junior. He must have been transferred in because he came from Missouri Western.
Hey, he's a walk-on player.
There's that Missouri connection again.
Yeah, he's a walk-on player.
Cobbins is a
walk-on, obviously. Oh, I can't even. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. He came from Hawaii.
Oh Lord.
Kilohana Hassenritter.
I'm gonna go with another walk-on player. Yeah, I haven't heard that one before.
He transferred from Hawaii, it says. So that's what it says, anyways. Our running back room still is pretty deep, but we know who our 1A and 1B are. It's just who will be that number 2 to 3 technically.
Yeah,
it's gonna be Jordan and Noah.
Yeah, 1A, 1B.
Jay Harris are you going to be your 3 most dominant backs? Probably going to start the year with Jay and yeah.
Those are definitely, I think, our 3 top. But again, are we going to see this one guy just break out all of a sudden and just steal that 3rd spot?
Well, right. Mind you, the possibility also that Jaden Lamar, he feels like he's ready to go start somewhere or get some solid playing time. Maybe a guy like him jumps in the portal too. I mean, which would be not ideal, just because you lost Dante Dowdell already, and you'd like to have 4 solid scholarship backs. But is that a possibility still? I don't think so, but we don't really know. The portal brings all sorts of craziness to us, so I wouldn't be completely shocked.
And does Dan channel the Liberty Bowl game or the old Dillingham and just throw a tight end or linebacker in there as a fullback and let him just take the charge, or the fullback dives?
Not like a Kenyon Sadiq back there.
Yeah, with the Sadiq on the sweep, or with School who did the rushing touchdown. I mean. You never know. Throw the wrinkles in. I'm not surprised that Stein would do it.
A Patrick Herbert, where if you wanted to run like a double option type of deal, he's someone who could receive the ball as a big man in the backfield. That could be a nice little goal line package for him.
Yeah, or take one of your 2nd or 3rd string linebackers or D linemen and just put the big boy out there and be like, "Here you go, have some fun." Run over people. I mean, why not?
I'd like to see it.
All right. Gentlemen, is there anything else we want to touch upon tonight for the spring game? Because I'm getting pumped up now for football again. It feels like it's been a long off season. I kind of cooled off with football, and now I'm like, all right, let's get going again. Let's do it. And then we're gonna get depressed because it's gonna be over.
And then we're gonna go down to nothing again.
Then it'll be over.
hit that dead period. No, I think we've pretty much touched on like all the stuff I'm super excited for. Obviously, I'm really excited to just see like some of these new faces in Oregon gear for the first time on the field. Like, Evan Stewart, like obviously we've heard about him in practice and stuff. And like, you've kind of seen some A&M highlights, but I'm excited to like be able to put that on the field and just kind of get a glimpse of what he is. I'm excited
in the Oregon offense too, not the inept A&M offense.
Right. Yeah. I'm excited to see Jay Harris touch the field, just to kind of see his size and see what a D2 back brings. Obviously, I'm excited to see the entire secondary. I'm excited to see the D line because, they're really fighting for some solid playing time between guys like Ben Roberts and Amari Washington, who, that competition's wide open for that nose spot. So kind of excited to see how that one plays out. And then kind of what that brings afterward, because it is another big weekend in recruiting. I think they have 4 top 100 guys on campus this weekend too. So it's a pretty big weekend.
Yeah, something like that. I know there's a bunch of people there.
Right, and that's coming off a big recruiting weekend last weekend. Last weekend they had 6 top 100 recruits on campus. So they're hitting the recruiting trail heavy. Hopefully, we just had Isaiah Mosey last week, but we're kind of hoping, for a commitment every once in a while to kind of string us along and get us talking about something interesting again.
I mean, I know Spaz is very excited for Saturday.
Yes. A lot of recruits coming in. We got like 20 something recruits coming in this weekend, I think.
I think the visit list is 23.
Yeah, it's big. I'm going to meet some of the excited to meet some of the parents and hopefully some of the coaches and players this weekend. And I'm excited. It's going to be a big week.
Well, and you're going to be there. So obviously, and as I understand, of course, Autzen is sold out for it. It'll be max capacity probably, as it usually is, even for spring games.
We're about 40. We're guessing 42 to 45,000 for Saturday.
That's a healthy spring game.
Yeah, almost max capacity. I mean,
Derek, you guys got anybody on the ground for Saturday?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You guys got anybody on the ground Saturday?
No, just the people we talked to in the press. Nobody will we don't have anybody there.
Well, you could have bought me you guys could have bought me a ticket and I would have done reporting for you over there.
Well, they could have bought me a ticket too. I would have flown up and reported, but here we are.
It would have been me, not you. So that's the point.
Oh, whatever. I'll be watching it from the comfort of my couch.
Yeah.
I'll be looking for you on TV, Spaz.
I don't even know where I'm going to be sitting yet. I haven't really decided.
I'll Venmo you $50 if you go streaking across the field. That offer is out there. Anybody in the comments who wants to donate $50 to the Spaz Going Streaking Fund,
hit the super chat.
Let me go, Spaz. This pot's gonna get nice and fat, and all of a sudden you got to start thinking about getting naked in front of 40,000 Oregon fans.
And then Luke Poley clotheslines him on the field.
Oh yeah, bro. It's gonna be it's gonna be like Spaz like talking about Bryce Betcher. It's gonna be Bryce Betcher to just absolutely clock his shit on the field, butt ass naked. It's gonna be great.
Like, we'll be back from commercial break.
There's going to be enough people at that game where somebody's going to get it on video.
Oh my God.
Well, he better be on his phone doing it. So at least you can send me the video after.
Oh yeah. Do like a live. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Look at me.
Yeah. Then you can send us your mug shot afterward too.
That'll be the thumbnail of the mug shot.
Hey, I guarantee we'd get some clicks just for the thumbnail of the video alone.
It'll be old man idiot streaks across Oregon field during spring game.
But no, let me know if you guys, if you want to, I can send you stuff throughout the day as well too.
Yeah,
Send
like I said, anything you take, like I said, you just send us the email with on a Google Drive. We can download it. I'll upload it through here, and then you let us know because yes, everyone, we will be trying to do a post spring game show. We'll just wait for Spaz when it's available because of all the festivities. Obviously, trying to let Spaz enjoy the spring game and everything going on there too. So when he's available,
maybe I'll go live with I left my home in Oregon.
Oh, we'll get copyrighted for that, so no, can't do that.
Oh yeah, we'll get taken off the.
Yeah, we get copyrighted for that. No, I can't do that.
What if I'm streaming it on my phone?
Yeah, it'll get copyrighted.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's one of those songs. I think it's enough known. YouTube will be like, nope, and then I'll get angry text message from Mark going, "Stop doing that. I told you to stop doing that."
Sorry, Mark. We were just living in the moment.
But yeah, anything you want to send, and you can text me, and I'll remind you too on like Friday. Just anything you do, little clips or something like the walkout stuff. Yeah, just send it to me. If you get with the coaches and you get to, for some reason, just be able to video and ask them a question or something, obviously do it if you can, and be like, cool. If they want to sit with you for a minute, that'd be fucking amazing, obviously. But like you said, just get with those people as best as you can, connect with them and be like, hey, we have this little show over here. This little thing going on, and would love to have one of you on. Like Chris Hampton, he's probably easy to get. Lupoy's fairly easy. Dan's the hardest one, I would think, to get for an interview. Even though he's pretty open, but he's obviously quite busy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then everyone, as we look forward to the spring game, Spaz, why don't you tell people where they can stalk you online if they so choose to do so?
There's this little box down there.
Oh, pretty good. I'll give that a pass.
Good job, Spaz.
I get better. Yeah, that's me, Sean _Spazdrag at Twitter. Also find me on YouTube, or not YouTube. Facebook and TikTok. I'm tired. I've been up too long today.
I was going to tell you to lay off something, but
no, he's just sleepy.
Allegedly. All right, Derek.
Reportedly,
you media whore. Where can people find you?
No media whore. People can follow me on Twitter at High Top Oregon. You can also find me on YouTube at High Top Sports Oregon. And then obviously, every Tuesday in post game with these two yahoos. Give me a follow.
Who's Derek died, huh?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Who's Derek's gone? I got to change this whole follow us banner now. Thanks, you guys are making this really difficult for me.
Well, me and Spaz, we're just trying to keep you on your toes, Ben. It's too easy to keep the same banner every week. Spaz and I were talking about it, and we're like, I think you need some extra work.
No, I don't need extra work, for fuck's sake.
Oh, well, that's our mistake. Sorry.
But yes, I'm just Ben of Exploring with Ben and Sam right here on YouTube. God damn, I had my vape in the wrong hand. Spaz did it better than me tonight. What the hell?
Oh, Jesus, Ben. Get it together, my guy.
Yeah, that's bad. That is bad. I'm disgraced.
Well, Ben just got cut, so sorry, everybody.
Hell no.
Show's over.
Hell no. Anyways, yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube. Exploring with Ben and Sam. Check out all the content. I do Monday and Thursdays live streaming on my channel, which is not for children. So,
no, it is not.
Yeah, it is definitely not. And then Sunday show on the After Dark. This Sunday, we will be going live again. We decided to do it for spring game wrap up as well as the draft wrap up. Check us back out here this Saturday. At some point, probably randomly, we will go live for the spring game wrap up as well as maybe a little draft talk. If not, maybe next Tuesday we'll do a draft discussion. Maybe. Also, that will give the free agency a little time to kind of kick in. Maybe some people get picked up after the draft. But other than that, Yeah, so make sure to check us out here every Tuesday or every other Tuesday or Wednesday, especially during the off season until the regular season starts again. And we'll be here. So subscribe, like, share. Definitely share, please. We need people.
Donate. Give us your money.
Well, that too. Yeah. Please do donate. It helps Mark a lot and it helps grow this channel as we are trying to do it. It's the off season though. It's very slow.
Got to contribute to me getting to the games this year.
Yes, it is James. He's my Canadian stalker. My channel is definitely for 18 and older. Generally,
Everybody needs a good stalker.
Yeah. He works for like the Canadian government though. He's definitely a stalker.
Oh, well, he's a good one at that.
He knows all your information already.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm not that interesting, James.
All right, everyone. What we'll do is we'll see you hopefully Saturday at some point. Otherwise, we will be uploading some random videos and shorts, depending on what Spaz can give us and provide, and we can actually get to work and cooperate with Google. Let's put it that way. So,
I may have some stuff Friday night too. Stay tuned.
Oh, breaking news from Spaz.
Oh, I changed the banner though. It's
Ranting with Spaz. Oh, I kind of like that one. You might have to create multiple of them. You know, Spaz gets his own segment every day.
He's supposed to, but tonight he actually was very calm. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We might see you Saturday. If not, we'll probably see you next Tuesday or Wednesday for post-draft and spring game recaps. But we might see you Saturday for a little bit. So everyone, again, hit the like button on the way out. Follow these two idiots online. And me, of course. I mean, definitely I need it. And otherwise, we will see you again, hopefully Saturday. Have a good night, everyone. What the hell are you doing? Why are you pointing at me? That's weird. Don't be weird.